to my room. My name is Brian Hussar. If you're new to my channel, I talk about my love of the Beatles, my love of music, my love of movies, and of course, physical media. So if you like any of this in any configuration, just hit subscribe. And this did start out as a Beatles channel originally back when I started this eons ago. But, you know, I like to talk about a lot of things. So I figured let's just put it all under one bundle here and, you know, enjoy. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to my son, Superfan1939. If you are a fan of comics, hilarious skits, give him a follow. Subscribe to his channel. Have your kids subscribe to his channel. Yeah, I mean, come on, we got to beat Ryan's World, you know? Do I want my son to become as famous as that? No. But he's been holding at 20-something subscribers for a bit there, so give him some love, okay? And he does it all on his own. He's doing it all on his own. The things that he posts are all on his own. And, you know, I'm just, only thing I do is I block certain things so the bad people don't come onto his channel. So that's the only thing I do. But everything he does is his own, and he's very creative. So the next up in my Beatles US album series, I don't own it on vinyl. I used to have a copy of it on vinyl a long time ago. It's one of those things that stayed back in Chicago many, many years ago when I moved to Arizona. But I have the CD from the Beatles US albums CD box set. And we're talking about the Beatles Story. Yes, this is a part of the Beatles US album discography. Here you go. It's like spending a very special evening in the company of the Beatles themselves. The Beatles Story, a narrative and musical biography of Beatlemania. Now, I will say, two Beach Boys associates were responsible and produced this. Gary Usher, who worked with Brian Wilson on a number of songs and even produced three of the albums of the Byrds. In fact, the best Byrds album, the Notorious Byrd Brothers, in my opinion. And Roger Christensen, who co-wrote with Brian Wilson a lot of the great Beach Boy car songs, like Little Deuce Coupe. And if you own the Little Deuce Coupe album, which has a lot of great car-themed songs on that record, he co-wrote. He wrote the lyrics, and I think the lyrics to The Ballad of Old Bessie is brilliant. But getting back to the Beatles here, Roger Christensen does some narration on here, and it's John Babcock did some narration. This was a 40-minute double album. Could fit on a single album, actually. But it was a double album. And I'm sure it was charged for the price more than a single album. Eventually I'll get this on vinyl again just to have it. But how Beatlemania began. Beatlemania in action. The man behind the Beatles, Brian Epstein. The man behind the music, George Martin. That narration I remember particularly well. His name is George Martin. He selects the music, the material. And the success of the Beatles is a testament to George Martin's ability. But, you know, this was kind of sold as a Beatles record, even though it says documentary on there, and even though it was included in the discography, especially when you look on the back of subsequent albums, and it says, you know, what they used to do back then. Let me see if I could grab a CD here. Let me grab Help, you know, these like advertisements, more great things from the Beatles and all that. You could see Beatles Story is in the discography right there. And when people talk about the words cash grab, and anytime they announce a new Beatles thing, a Beatles movie, or whatever, and people and Beatle fans say cash grab. This is what I consider a cash grab. We're going to put out anything with the Beatles name on it, and Beatle fans are just going to eat it up. And that's kind of how they thought back then. Is it a good record? I don't know how you could judge it in terms of that. Is Having Fun on Stage with Elvis a good record? You know, that things like that are cash grabs. And Having Fun on Stage with Elvis is an attempt by Colonel Tom Parker to keep Elvis out there and just have a lot of Elvis product. And even though it says in small print, this is a talking only album, what Having Fun on Stage with Elvis is, it's all the in-between song banter that he would do with the audience. That's all the album is. Sold as a live album. I guess technically it's a live album. This, on the other hand, it does specifically state a narrative and musical biography of Beatlemania on 2 long play records. But you think a young teen is going to read that when they see the word Beatles and see the 4 cute mop tops on the front cover? I don't think so. Or maybe they did. I don't know. But it was the idea that I think anybody back then would buy anything with the word Beatles on it. So I don't know how to judge it. Is it a must-have? If you're a diehard fan, you need to have everything. I have it on CD. I didn't buy the vinyl box set of the U.S. albums 1964 just because cost-wise. I realized I could buy them separate. And I'm sure I'll be able to find a used copy somewhere of the new edition of it at some point. And I did have a copy of this that my godfather Richard had. But this is one I really don't play. I got a lot of use out of it summer of 1990. I used to make sound effects collages, and I still have a couple of these on cassette. And I played a lot of sections of it backwards, just for the backwards speak to put on my sound collage. So if you play some of the narrative sections backwards, it can have a hypnotic effect on you. Thankfully, Capitol would get back on track with the next outing, Beatles 65. And that's going to be the next one. And I'm excited to talk about that one. But if you have some thoughts on the Beatles story, give them to me. Was it a cash grab? Is it something a Beatle fan should have? What are some of your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And till the next time I talk to you, I wish you, as Ringo would say, peace and love.